Chris, obvious question is this more of a hobby for you? Being, you know, your full-time gig is being guitarist for the greatest rock band ever, and by night...
I'm the guitar player for the Rolling Stones? What? Where did I get that gig?
I thought you were the guitarist for Roxette.
Oh, well, yeah, exactly. That was in a past life.
So, yeah, I mean, how important are the Peasants to you?
Well, it's very important. You know, I always refer to it as a side project, but I always kick myself after I call it that, because really, like, in the last couple of years, you know, we were on this sort of long hiatus from Foo Fighters stuff. So when I made the record, and you know, all the stuff sort of surrounding the record, whether it was like writing the songs or you know, working on the album cover artwork or all the stuff you got to do to sort of get a record out, it was really like my sole focus. So it wasn't like I was like juggling, you know, oh, I'm doing this Foo Fighter thing and this Gimme Gimme's thing and this Dead Peasants thing. You know, it wasn't like that. So when I was working on it, it was like that's all I was working on.
Right.
And then, you know, now Foo Fighters are going to get busy again, and then, you know, I'd love to do another one of these records in a year or so, you know, so whenever I can.
I have to ask you, Dave Grohl has to be in every rock band, so did he try to get into this side project of yours, or no?
He did not.
Okay.
But we can start that rumor here that he did. And I told him, no way, you're not making the grade.
No, I interviewed a couple of months ago Taylor, who was touring for the Coattails, and I guess it's kind of similar, your sound versus the Foo Fighters sound. Like, do you find that fans of the Foo Fighters go to your show and they're like totally blown away how different the sound of your record is?
You know, it's maybe a little bit. I don't know if I'd say they're totally blown away, but you know, like I definitely have had some comments. Like, I've had some comments like, you know, I didn't know what to expect and I didn't expect this, like that kind of thing. I'm like, why'd you do that? You know.
It's kind of got a very subtle country feel to it.
Yeah,
you agree with that?
Yeah, well, for sure. I mean, there's a ton of pedal steel on it, and you know, acoustic guitars and stuff like that. And it's sort of that, you know, it's heavily influenced by country and things that are influenced by country.
What's the difference getting ready for one of your shows with the Peasants versus like the Foo Fighters show, where you have the built-in audience versus?
Well, the show itself is so different. You know, like, oops, I'm a total rookie.
I thought
first time doing an interview.
Lunch is ready.
You know, it's so different. You know, the sort of the you know, Foo Fighters show. There's like a ton of people there, and they know the music, and they sing along, and it's, you know, it's that kind of crazy energy. Whereas with this, it's like, you know, you're playing to a handful of people in a bar, and most of them, I don't think, even though the album's been out for like a month or something now, like maybe a few of them are a little more familiar with the music or have at least heard it. But it's not that same kind of thing, you know, that most people probably haven't even heard the record, you know? So it's, you're definitely like trying to win people over more than just sort of like, you know, being swept up in the energy of the moment, you know? Yeah, you have the whole built-in audience for Foo Fighters. I would think it would almost be like when you first started out, probably, right? It's a lot like that, yeah. It's that same kind of feeling, like, you know, you sort of never know what the show is, if it's going to be good or bad or what, you know. But you know, the show's been really fun. People seem like, you know, they're having a good time. So. And
we were talking earlier. This is actually, we're here at the Mercury Lounge. I'll start the interview mid-interview. Sorry.
There you go.
We're at Mercury Lounge now. This is your last night, right? And you did what, 12 dates? You said?
I think so. 12 dates on this run. We started in Minneapolis, kind of worked our way around the Midwest. We got to, like, as far down as Nashville. Okay. We went up into Canada for a couple shows and kind of around the East Coast. So try to hit as many places as we could, because I had like a little finite window. You know, I just had these a couple windows this summer because Foo Fighter stuff was sort of starting back up again with some rehearsals. So I had like these little gaps that I could fill. And we did a couple of West Coast tours, and then we did this.
Now, I know it's fairly early in the game with the next Foo Fighters record. I mean, is there any glimpse you can give me into the sound versus the last album or any of that stuff, or is it?
Well, I think the sound's probably going to be different because we're going to record this album on tape. You know, Dave really wants to do it on tape, and he's set up his studio at his house to do that. So that alone should make a difference. But also, I think the songs are from what I've heard, the stuff that we've worked on so far, it's all pretty rockin'. You know, it's sort of the more up tempo rock and roll kind of stuff that Foo Fighters do, as opposed to the more sort of like piano ballady stuff that there was a lot of on the last couple of records.
I mean, are you surprised at the evolution of the band? Like, I mean, it just seems with every single record, you're just I don't want to say topping yourselves, but do you know what I'm saying? There's just
yeah, no, it's been I think the great thing about it is that it wasn't like just some like a rocket ship. It was like a slow, gradual thing, you know. So I joined the band after they had made the third record, but like right about a couple months before it came out or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they were already a well-established thing, but like when I joined the band, like Foo Fighters still in a lot of places played like clubs and theaters and stuff like that, and the shows were different, you know. There weren't as many albums to draw on, you know. So it's changed a lot through the years, you know. And it's a good thing.
You know, Dave is kind of the quintessential. Did I even remotely say that word right? Frontman? Did I come close? I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, yes. What would you say is the difference between Dave, fronting a band, and you fronting a band? I know that it's kind of on a different level, but I'm just curious. Like
Dave is very, very talented at whipping a crowd up.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because he wasn't quite like that when I first joined the band. That was sort of that really came into being. I remember in like 2000 or so, we went on this tour opening for the Chili Peppers, and it was like the first tour that I had done with them that was in arenas and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was a different thing, and he really grabbed the moment, and became that kind of a front man. And he wasn't quite like that, prior to that, I don't think.
And how are you?
I'm not like that at all.
You're just totally chill. You play your songs and get the hell out of it.
Well, it depends on the crowd. We played down in Philly last night, and it was like it just had a silly vibe to it. So it's just I don't know, it was silly. I make fun of our keyboardist a lot.
What is that?
That's my trick. Because you gotta say something.
Yeah, that's true.
It's worse if you just stand up there on mute.
Right.
All awkward and uncomfortable. I'm not, I don't go out there. I'm not David Lee Roth. I don't do that. It's not that kind of music, But I'm trying my best.
So when do you think, maybe this is going years from now probably, next hiatus, you think you're going to do another present album?
Well, definitely, yeah. I definitely do more records in the future. My little fantasy is that over the course of the next couple of years, while Foo Fighters are touring, when Foos tour, we always have like gaps and stuff between tours. We don't go out for more than 2-3 weeks at a time, and then we'll be home for a couple of weeks. So I'm hoping that over the course of the next couple of years, I can get into the studio and record a couple songs here, a couple songs there, so that when we do take our break, I'll have more or less an album's worth of stuff ready to go. Because we've been on this long break, but it really for the first stretch of that, I just kind of hung out at home and I wasn't really thinking about doing music. Then I started writing some songs. Then got into the studio. By the time my record came out, it was like the hiatus was over. So I couldn't really tour it the way you really want to. It'd be great if we could go all over, and but there just isn't time yet. So 2012, 2015.
There you go.
Somewhere in there.
So you're already booked for the next couple of years.
Yeah. Foo Fighters' schedule is getting stacked up way off into the distance, so that's...
Would you ever jump on a Foo Fighters song? Like I know Taylor did Cold Day in the Sun. Would you ever do something like that?
It's probably wouldn't ever be an option, but if it was, yeah, sure, why not? Of course.
All right, then.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Right on. Thank you.